There are some scenarios where if you convert everything, you pay zero taxes for the rest of your life. Some people online and YouTubers would be out there and they're going to pitch this hard and be like, here's how you can pay 0% in taxes, and they'll hit it hard, and then everybody thinks like, oh, I should be able to do that. No, it's like if the cards are dealt to you in a way that you could shoot the moon here, you could convert everything, then you should
And I
at
don't
least
love
be
the
able-
language, you're going to pay 0% in taxes, because that might be 0% in the future, but you're going to pay taxes to get there.
Exactly. Exactly.
don't get
Good
that
point,
confused.
Tyson. You will pay taxes to get there. Welcome to the Zacc Call Money Education Channel. Today we're going to do Roth right. Tyson just finished saying we've been doing it wrong this whole time, talking about doing it wrong this whole time.
Time to do it right.
It's time to do it right. We have Tyson Long back. Tyson is one of our wealth advisors at Capita Financial Network, one of our more technical and senior wealth advisors, and nerds out on this stuff. And I always have a good time talking with you in the halls about like strategy and case studies and things like that. So Tyson, thank you again for being here today.
Yep, it's going to be fun.
And today we're talking about doing Roth right. My name is Zacc Call. I'm the president of Capita Financial Network. So far in the season, let's give you an orientation as to where you are. If this is the first video you're watching, because I could see this being one that pops up in search results. Yeah. So if you are here, that's fine. Stay with us. But understand that we're going to reference things in 3 previous episodes in this season. I'm building this channel so that it has something called a guided path that will guide you through topics from start to finish. So we are going to rely on foundation that's already been built in previous episodes. The first episode was the bad math that people do around Roth versus traditional considerations, and the 4 reasons you would go one way or the other. Those are the 4 basic reasons. Then we moved on to the 8 advanced reasons that people go one way or the other between Roth and traditional. And then we moved on to 16 ways people do Roth wrong. So here we are today on the process. It's not a number, it's a process for step-by-step. How do you do Roth right? But those 3 episodes should be very valuable to you in understanding this. So up to you. Stick with us if you would like, and then maybe go back and listen to those, or pause right here, go find those episodes. You'll find them in the playlist. Oddly enough, I'm fairly new to YouTube, being on YouTube, but I feel like I'm kind of a new user of YouTube because I feel old. And the bottom line is I learned that you can go to a channel and then they have what's called playlists. And if the channel creators have organized it in this way, you can go to the playlist and see the episodes in a particular order. And that's how these are organized. So if you go to the Guided Path playlist, you'll see season 1, which was all about income planning and income decisions and organizing income, things like that. And this is season 2, which is all about that Roth. So that's what anything
All
else to
about that
set
Roth.
up before we get going?
Other than my 7-year-old taught me the same thing about playlists. It was a
really?
revelation. Yeah, it changed my YouTube experience. So playlists are key.
Yeah, I made the mistake, and for people out there, you may not know, I've been podcasting for 7 years. No one knows. Because I did it all on audio only.
I tried to get Joe Rogan. That would have helped. But
Exactly. So I was on Apple, Spotify, a bunch of different channels, but I wasn't doing video because it was intimidating, and I just wanted to do my job here at Capita. Anyway, bottom line, that was a huge mistake. I've learned that it's crazy, but people are here on YouTube to learn about everything. And
Yeah.
I know everyone here is like, duh, but took me a minute. I was too busy talking and thinking about Roths. So let's do Roth right. Okay, we're going to give you a step-by-step process on how to think about the Roth decision. As you probably can tell, most of what we do at our firm is leading up to preparing for, setting the stage for retirement, transitioning, and then being in retirement. So a lot of this do Roth right conversation is geared toward the person who is 50 to 70.
so between the transitioning to, or getting close to transitioning to, or in retirement, right?
Yeah. So if you're like a 20 or 30 or 40-year-old, I don't think, for example, that you need to do as much of a multi-year lifetime Roth conversion analysis. You don't even know what you're going to do for a job sometimes when you're in your 20s and 30s, let alone what your retirement income is going to look like, 40 years from that time. So
But still good to, like, the first video would still be a good reference to understand Roth versus traditional and when the right one might be appropriate.
yeah, the first three, right?
Yeah,
the first
true.
three should those first three videos we did should get that person very, very well oriented into the path they should be at. So to clarify who we're talking to, younger folks, just go take a look at those first three videos. If you are 50 to 70, like, this is something you need to understand. This is how to do Roth right with like a little asterisk as a 50 to 70-year-old.
Okay.
Okay. So what you want to do is first model your future taxable income. This is hard because you have to anticipate and predict and assume a whole bunch of factors: inflation and cost of living adjustments and growth on portfolios and all of those things, right? Which will affect how big your minimum distributions are, which is a tax consideration. So it's all so intertwined. But you're going to model out basically every year for the next 30 plus years, knowing that you can feel pretty confident in the analysis on the first decade, and the last 2 decades, it's a little bit of a coin toss as to how close you are on those.
Yeah.
I would rather be approximately right than have no clue or be completely wrong. So
Absolutely.
that's my
Vaguely right is better than exactly
completely
wrong.
wrong. Exactly wrong. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Vaguely right is better than exactly wrong. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Once you've modeled out the expected income, you'll know a little bit better what tax bracket you should be hitting each year for the rest of your life. You won't know what those rates will be. You don't know if those lines are going to move exactly and how much, because they will, but we have a rough idea. Now, step 2. This is model out 3 different pathways. And this is where I think people make the biggest mistake. They jump straight to the third pathway without doing a quick check on pathway 1 and 2. Pathway 1 is convert everything. Pathway 2 is convert nothing. And then pathway 3 is convert to fill marginal tax brackets when you're low. So let's talk about this convert everything path and why someone might go that way and why you must look at it. You just have to look at it and at least test it out. I don't. Do you ever play Hearts, the card game?
Nope.
Do you know
Not
how?
Hearts. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
you know how the game works. Okay.
Actually, you know what? I think I played it with you once, and
That's right, we did.
I got, yeah.
That was in Orlando.
Yes, it
Okay.
was.
Okay, so Hearts.
In fact, I had a real hard time with that game because I got beat a lot.
Oh,
so.
is that right?
But it was fun. It was
Okay.
fun.
So for anybody, and I feel like our audience is going to know Hearts really well because it was like the only game on computers 10, 20 years
Is it better than Go Fish? Better than War?
Yes. Okay, so basically Hearts, the game is there's 26 points to be had. You're trying to not get any of them, if possible, in every round. But if you can somehow get all the points, everybody else takes 26 and you get 0. So that's called shooting the moon. Converting everything is shooting the moon.
Ah, I see.
Do you see where I'm at here?
Yes, that's perfect.
You are making a pretty decent bet. However, every once in a while, as an advisor, I come across a client scenario that I'm like, well, start over. When you're playing the game of Hearts, you get dealt these cards, and sometimes you look at your cards and think, this is the worst hand ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up with the Queen of Spades, which is 13 points. I'm going to end up with all the other hearts, or close to all the other hearts. And then it dawns on you like, oh, I could shoot the moon. I think I need to go for it. That's how it sometimes happens when I'm looking at a client profile. And I'm like, hey, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, 19 out of 20, it might be 49 out of 50 times when you play a round of hearts, you're not shooting the moon.
Right.
But every once in a while, but you got to at least have that in your mind.
Keep an open mind to it.
Yes, you have to have an open mind to it. Because every once in a while you see a situation and you think, this is it. These are the cards. I've got the cards to do it. So some people, some retirees have the cards to do it. And the cards to do convert everything is when you have basically a pretty straightforward retirement profile in the sense that you have Social Security and IRA, traditional IRA. If that's your situation, and those things will produce a lot of income, so that needs to be a lot. If you're really low, this won't work as well, and I'll explain why. But if you have a good amount of Social Security, let's say a couple that has $60,000+ of Social Security, especially, and they have $1 million IRA or more, what's going on there?
Which we see is real.
Those are real scenarios, right? What's happening there is every year when that person hits minimum distribution age, which could be 73 to 75 right now, when they hit minimum distribution age, they will be required to take out about $40,000 from their IRA every year as a distribution that the IRS is basically saying, you've delayed this long enough. We would like some taxes on that. Okay. And then every year they make you take a larger percentage of that portfolio. That's called minimum required distributions. So what that income does is in the calculation of how much of your Social Security you get taxed on, they factor that income and your Social Security income. They throw it through a two-part calculation. It turns into another two-part calculation that's then the lesser of two numbers. We're going to go through that in another video.
Good old government formula like we talked about.
We love them, right? We're going to go through that in another video, and we have a tool for you to use so that you can model that out. But the key thing for you to understand is this $40,000 minimum distribution is causing Social Security income to show up that might not need to show up. And if we could do a convert everything strategy where we convert the IRA completely to Roth and all you show is $60,000 of Social Security income, there's a chance that you are completely erasing or down to like 7 to 10% of your Social Security showing up on your tax return. And then that would get wiped away by the standard deduction. So basically, let's bring this home. There are some scenarios where if you convert everything, you pay zero taxes for the rest of your life. It is a shoot the moon scenario.
Yeah.
So some YouTubers,
it's a big win though.
Yeah, and I know that some people online and YouTubers would be out there and they're going to pitch this hard and be like, here's how you can pay 0% in taxes, and they'll hit it hard, and then everybody thinks like, oh, I should be able to do that. No, it's like if the cards are dealt to you in a way that you could shoot the moon here, you could convert everything, then you should.
And I don't love the language, you're going to pay 0% in taxes, because that might be 0% in the future, but you're going to pay taxes to get there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't get
Good
that
point,
confused.
Tyson. You will pay taxes to get there because you're doing a bunch of conversions.
Right.
And it's just, is it possible and is it not too painful to do that, to then turn off taxes for the rest of your life? That's where we're looking. Okay. And then we have a client visual that let's throw up here and help people understand. Let's just talk about it briefly. Again, there's the tool that we have that will provide, it's an Excel file that will provide it, but I'm going to do another video to teach you how it's used. But this is the tool that shows you how much of your Social Security will show up as taxable income. And then there's a quick chart that we can throw up here that basically shows across the top your Social Security income, and along the left side how much other income you have. So that example we gave of $60,000 of Social Security and $40,000 of other income from the minimum distributions, they have to include 47% of their Social Security. So that person is, let's just call it half because we like easy math.
Yeah.
$30,000 of Social Security, $40,000 of minimum distributions. They have a $70,000 total income.
Taxable income.
Not quite yet because we have deductions.
Right.
So, but that's their total income, and then we'll subtract out a $30,000 deduction as a standard, and so they're paying taxes on $40K.
And what Zacc said there, like they had $60,000 Social Security, but only $30,000 of it is flowing through to the tax return.
Exactly.
To be calculated as
that's
taxable.
without any conversions.
Right.
That's without the whole shoot the moon strategy. But that's not bad. Let's just take a step back. Let's look at that. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And that's why this shoot the moon is hard, because if you really have to pay quite a bit in taxes to convert $1 million over to Roth, when you could get it out at pretty reasonable rates. But the idea is if you converted it all and all they show is $60,000 of Social Security income, they are going to show less than $5,000 of that on their tax returns.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is. And so this is where you can optimize it too. Because of the standard deduction being about $30,000, I actually wouldn't convert everything. but I would still call them a convert everything strategy.
Right.
We would just convert almost everything.
Almost everything.
Exactly. Yeah. If we converted almost everything and left them with a taxable, like a report, basically we converted enough that between the minimum distribution left and the taxable portion of Social Security, we get real close to about $30,000, and then the standard deduction wipes that back out.
Which is a real 0%.
That's a 0% tax. Yeah, you got it. Okay. So again, we'll give you the table. All of that has been, we've been talking about a joint couple, and it's important to also think about single filers as well. Single filers, you're basically looking at numbers that are similar, but they, like a single filer is probably not going to have, well, I know they're not going to have $60,000 of Social Security all by themselves, right? So it's going to be closer to 30 or 40. And so if you had 30 or 40 with 20 or 30 of minimum distributions, the numbers will work out to be very, very similar.
Yep.
Okay, let's keep moving. So that's convert everything. Now we have to go to the opposite side and convert nothing.
Convert nothing. Card game wise, I was thinking as you were talking, I'm thinking Texas Hold'em, and I get a 2 of hearts and a 7 of spades, and the flop is 3 face cards, a king, a queen, and an ace. I'm sitting there with my 2 and 7 thinking everybody else here probably has a face card. I'm not even going to make a bet because I don't even need to see anybody's cards. I'm folding immediately.
Exactly.
Is that, you feel like that works? Okay.
It does. It does work. The question is how many people understand all of that from a card game standpoint. Okay, so I'm with you though. It does
Texas
work.
Hold'em, I know hearts, you know.
That's funny. I know hearts because I'm a computer nerd apparently. But the point, yes, that makes sense because of the likelihood of somebody out there having better cards. In this case with convert nothing, it's very much realizing that your tax situation is actually pretty favorable and it's not worth taking on crazy bets and risks to try to save a little bit in taxes because you're already in a really low tax bracket.
Could you also think of maybe a client that, because let's say they have great Social Security because they worked till they were 70, they turn it on, it's a high benefit, they get a great pension, so they're just between those two alone, they're going to be forced and let's say they're single, they're not married, so they've got those compressed income brackets. That's already pushing their taxable income into those high brackets, and it's like, I feel like it's hard, and we know, and there's no family that they want to pass the money to. It's like, I think it gets harder to make a case for conversions.
Yeah, for sure. And they are probably not in a scenario in which we can shoot the moon. We can't convert everything because it's not going to turn off taxes on their Social Security because you mentioned their other income's going to show up and cause their Social Security.
I think you actually know the client I'm thinking of. Think Hollywood, director Hollywood.
Okay.
So that's who I'm thinking of.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And if you're watching, we love you.
We love you. Yes, exactly. Okay, so then they're probably not in a situation to be able to convert everything. And in fact, they might be in a situation where they should convert nothing because the convert nothing is kind of two different scenarios. It's your tax rate and tax situation is so good, we can't make it better through conversions. Or your tax rate and tax situation is so locked in that conversions isn't really going to impact it that much.
Right.
Now, those two scenarios, if I were to throw percentages, I feel like the shoot the moon, convert everything, I have only found that to be useful in 1 out of 30 to 50 cases. The convert nothing feels like, so let's call it 1 out of 50 on convert nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The convert everything, let's call that 1 out of 50. Convert nothing feels like 10 to 15 out of 50.
Yeah, a little more common.
Yeah.
But still not super common, but a little more common.
Yeah, and then this convert to fill marginal tax brackets, convert to manage multiple years worth of tax situations. That's the other 35 out of 50.
Yeah.
Basically, we're saying that 7 out of 10 retirees should be thinking about conversions every year.
Yep.
And should be executing on variable, like different Roth conversion amounts almost every year.
Yep.
And that math could be off, but that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I agree
That's
with
not
that.
backed
That's how
by
it feels.
it's not backed by stats.
It's anecdotal, just
Yes.
kind of feels. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we talked about the benefits of converting everything. Let's quickly talk about the disadvantages of converting everything. And by the way, we talked about the process. I'm going to keep reiterating the process because this can be confusing. You're going to model out your income for your entire retirement picture. Step 2 is you're going to consider all 3 pathways in order: convert everything, convert nothing, and then manage conversions, variable conversions through the rest of your life. If you convert everything, we talked about the benefits: simple taxes, eliminating tax on Social Security. Let's talk about the disadvantages of converting everything. You could be converting at higher rates than 10, 12, and 15%. And those brackets are available to you later in life, but you're not using them. It's like a missed opportunity later in life.
You forego using them later because you blew through and got into the 32, 35 today.
Exactly. But if it turns off taxes on the rest of your income, it could be worth paying 22, 24% and giving up on the opportunity to use the 10, 12 in the future. Okay. If you're giving an IRA to charity, there's no tax associated with that for the charity, and that would be a huge mistake to you pay a bunch of taxes and then give a Roth to a charity.
Yep.
Giving an IRA to a beneficiary in a lower tax bracket, they're going to have a lower tax rate.
This one comes up a lot, I feel like, because parents want to leave money tax-free. It'll be nice to leave it tax-free to my kids, which is that is nice. But I think the real question is, do you want to leave them with more or less? Somebody's going to pay the taxes. It's either you or them. And if they pay the taxes, but at a lower rate than you've now left them more money.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
that's true. Okay, that's the convert everything. The convert nothing, the benefits are that average tax rates for retirees are lower than most retirees think they will be.
It's always fun to show that to clients that we work with, of like, based on what we know today, here's what we kind of project for those future tax rates to be your average tax rate, your effective tax rate. I think they're surprised when they see that.
Yeah, and I like when we use our tax auditing software to throw it up and say, hey, can you see 9 here? That's your tax rate, 9 on average. It's not bad. And then it's simple too to convert nothing. So sometimes there's a benefit to simplicity when it comes to money management, right? And then the third benefit is you can always change your mind later. Like you could always decide to start converting or convert more. The convert everything, like you've drawn a line in this hand. Once you start taking those points and hearts, you can't be like, and never mind.
Right.
You know, you got to commit. Disadvantages here: RMDs or minimum distributions could hit you pretty hard.
Yeah.
Those could affect your Medicare premiums through something called IRMA, which is where they adjust your monthly Part B premiums and Part D based on your income levels. You could be forced into higher tax brackets. These are all the things that most advisors out there are scaring you about. And I keep trying to reiterate, many people, the average person, most people, their minimum distributions are not so bad that it forces them into crazy IRMA brackets and crazy high tax brackets. Okay, so once you have assessed the opportunity of converting everything or converting nothing and the effects of those things, then the next strategy would be to convert to manage what we call bracket headroom.
What's the card game that fits this? Is there one? I can't think of one.
I don't know. This feels more like a board game.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Like
Monopoly?
Risk. And exactly. Because this is so much more strategic.
So we've got Hearts, Texas Hold'em, complicated board game.
Exactly.
For this one.
Yes.
And guys, if you've made it this far, put your favorite game in the comments. Whether it's a card game, a board game, whatever it is. Throw it in there.
I love that.
Really want to see what you guys like.
Because I love games like this. I would love to be able to buy a new one. So yeah, for sure. and congratulations, you made it this far.
Settlers of Catan, throw it in there. Whatever you like.
Okay. I love it. So this strategy is a lot like a board game. You're going to be very strategic, and it's going to take a while, and it's a commitment from a time and standpoint and analysis standpoint. So bracket headroom, that just means, imagine you've got this bucket of and you've drawn, you know what, I'm going to use this cup, this water. You've drawn a line on here that says, hey, at this level, this is where the 22% tax bracket starts, and all the water represents ordinary income, and I'm up to here. I have this space in the bracket that I can fill in. How do I want to fill it in? And one option would be converting money to Roth, paying taxes on it, and having that show up. Now, The idea, the benefit here is you're taking advantage of the yearly opportunity every single year that may exist in bracket headroom. And the other nice thing here is if you do the analysis right, then you can convert with confidence knowing I'm improving the situation every single year. It might be a little bit, might be a more medium amount, but I'm improving the situation every year.
I think that's what our channel and our philosophy is to make consistent small decisions just over and over and over again so that they compound into something bigger over the long run.
That's a great point. Thank you. The other benefit here is it's less of a bet either side. We're not committing.
Which I love, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that we're not having to commit and shoot the moon or not, or ignore the whole game entirely in your Texas Hold'em situation.
Just give me out.
And it's more strategic. It's less of a bet. You can change your mind. Those are the things. Disadvantages to this process is it's more complex and more involved. It requires annual work. And at some point in the future, you may have wished that you converted more. That would be another disadvantage. And the third disadvantage is too many people will do this strategy without ever even seeing if they could do the convert everything strategy. It's like getting your hand of cards without looking to see if you can shoot the moon. And if that's the case, you'll never know if you could have turned off all your taxes on Social Security if you don't at least consider that. So sometimes that happens with this convert to manage bracket headroom. People will forget to at least look at the other strategies. So the question is, how do you do this more complex one? How do you manage strategy 3 where you're converting to manage bracket headroom? So we model the annual income and you model out the marginal tax brackets in the future. And then you identify which marginal tax bracket line your income is straddling. So which bracket are you sometimes below and sometimes above? Whichever bracket that is, and that's important to know, and it might be multiple lines. So we do have some visuals here that we'll go through, and I've got one here so you can take a peek if you want. But basically, this individual is high income, like quite high income for the next 3 years, retires, and then the income drops dramatically. That's where we're not doing any conversions when this person is making $900,000 a year.
Right.
There's just
especially
no
when we
reason.
see a big drop going forward. It's like, why would we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, as soon as this person retires, the income, the reportable income will drop dramatically.
Is this the Valley of Opportunity?
The Valley of Opportunity.
Let's go. We got to get that on a shirt.
That's right.
We got to make that happen.
Okay, so if you didn't listen to the other episode, this is something we coined as the Valley of Opportunity for Roth conversions. Basically, for a retiree, your earned income drops as you retire. And then at some point, your minimum distributions are going to make it come back up. And that low point from a taxable income standpoint is the value of opportunity. And it oftentimes works out to be about a decade because people retire in their early mid-60s and are required to take distributions in their early mid-70s. So we have a decade, which is the valley of opportunity that we are hoping to really set you up so that when you hit minimum distributions, you're in a much better spot from a tax standpoint. Okay, valley of opportunity here. So the idea is that there is a line that's being straddled, a tax bracket line that sometimes they're over and sometimes they're under. And in this case, the line is the 24% tax bracket.
Okay.
So in the valley of opportunity, they are below the 24% tax bracket. Once minimum distributions happen, they are above the 24% tax bracket. So any space that exists inside the 22% tax bracket before they hit 24, they should be converting up to that line. Because any conversion they do up to that 24, the switch between 22 to 24, any conversion they do there, it's almost like in this chart, if you could take a pencil and just erase the right side bars and grab them and drop them into the valley of opportunity, they're going to pay 22 and they would have been forced into 24. Now, my opinion is that that's multiple decades, and 22 and 24 in the past have been the 25 and 28% tax brackets. So the reality is converting at 22 is even more advantageous because most likely they're avoiding 28 in the future rather than 24.
Agreed, yep.
That is an opinion. That is not
Yeah,
fact.
agree on the opinion.
But
Yeah.
that's something.
We don't know the future.
We don't know the future, but we think 24 and 22 are lower rates than what we will see at those same income levels in the future. So we're making a good trade there. Okay, so in this chart, you have the different horizontal lines that are different colors. They all represent marginal tax brackets. In about 2057, those drop, and that's because one of the planning spouses has passed away. So the surviving spouse becomes, we call this the single filer penalty. It's not really a technical penalty. It's just that all the brackets have been compressed.
Yeah.
So in this same situation, she's outliving him in the projection, and she has a lot of income showing up above even 32%, some above 35. So you could argue that it's even worth, in the value of opportunity, converting at 24 for two reasons. One, that same 24% tax bracket is probably going to be something greater in the future. So we're trading 24 for maybe 28.
Yep.
Two, if he passes away or she passes away, either way, the survivor is going to be sitting at 32, 35, 37 plus.
And I think in this visual, it shows them they're not too different in age. And then we don't obviously know health status of these, but if we pretend for a minute that maybe one of them has poor health or there's a big difference in age, that even accelerates that even more.
Exactly.
Potentially.
You talked about that, I think, on
in a previous
episodes
video,
where there was about a 14, 15-year gap between two people, right?
Yep.
That survivor, she is likely to live a lot longer than him in terms of calendar years, right? And men tend to not live as long as women anyway, so there could be like a 17-year projected difference between, so almost 2 decades of compressed tax rates. Now, of course, she could get remarried,
right,
but we don't know. But 2 decades of compressed tax rates, that would be something to strongly consider in the analysis of the line that you're straddling. So the way that you think through this is, which marginal tax bracket line am I straddling, if any? If you're in the same bracket forever, conversions aren't going to help you unless the government changes rates within that bracket, which they could. But that's just the only factor you have to think about. But if you straddle a line, then you think about both government changing rates and your rate changing because your income goes up and down. So you convert in years in which you are below that line, and you're hoping to reduce years that you are above that line, which are forced by minimum distributions. And then you model out each conversion annually to see the additional effects on things like Medicare premiums and other phase-in and phase-outs that might be affected by that. And then the very last step is, don't do it too fast. Meaning, don't look at it and say, all right, well, we made a decision that a $50,000 conversion in 2025 is appropriate, and we think a $50,000 conversion is appropriate for the next decade. So we're on autopilot, and we're going to do 50K every year for the next decade. The problem with that is, if you don't run the analysis again in 2026, you're failing to recognize that key thing that we talked about in our last episode, which is you just created a new set of tools, a new timeline, a new future, because now you have Roth money and traditional money. So just having those tools may allow you to manage your tax brackets better. And you might not need to do the next conversions because the first ones solved the problem.
We're in a different line in the Spider-Verse. We're now the old Peter Parker, the Sony Films Peter Parker, before Disney got involved. So it's, you got to take that into account.
I'm not sure our demographic's going to follow that. Texas Hold'em Hearts, I think they got that. But Spider-Verse or whatever, I don't know if they're into that one, Tyson. But that's fantastic. You get the idea. You have a new set of tools, a new timeline, a new reality in which you can operate. And you might not need to continue doing conversions because you've done enough to have enough control over your marginal tax brackets. Okay, then let's do a quick summary of all of it. This is doing Roth right. You model your future taxable income. You consider convert everything. You consider convert nothing. And if you fall into neither of those, then we look at marginal tax bracket headroom, and we strategize around whichever line your income is straddling, above and below. We're trying to lop off the high years and slot them in. And usually that's the 10-year valley of opportunity between retirement and minimum distributions. Then every year you look at those and you make sure it's not hurting an Affordable Care Act healthcare plan or your Part B premiums or a phase in or out for education credits or all these things that happen on the tax return. You look at them annually. And then you also look at them from a standpoint of what conversions I've done in the past and what tools those conversions are providing me in the future in terms of tax-free withdrawals. And do I need to continue doing this plan, or should I abandon the plan and now I'm a convert nothing person? So some people will be in this third category until they don't need to be.
Yep.
And then they're convert
They've done
nothing.
enough conversions to where now they have enough tools to be that marginal bracket ninja.
Yes, and they're so good at it. They have a really great tax situation for the rest of their life, and they're a convert nothing person. Or maybe you decide I'm not willing to commit to shooting the moon and going to convert everything. So you marginal tax bracket manage, and you convert that headroom, and then later you decide, no, I actually am convert everything. I got the feel of this. I realize what's happening, and then they go.
Yeah, love it.
I think we did it. So that's Roth conversions right. If you've made it this far, I'm just going to throw a couple things out here. Capita does this for our clients. We would be glad to assess your situation and help you understand which of these three we think you are, and then start to run some of the math for you. Capita is a wealth advisor. We have 2,600 households and 18 advisors, 59 total employees. We manage about $2 billion in assets right now. It's 2025. Our goal is to help those 2,600 households have the absolute best financial plan, best money management possible. And my goal is to deliver superior financial planning to as many households as possible. So I'd like to get that 2,600 up to as many households as we can possibly affect to make them, to put them in a situation where they have a wonderful retirement, a wonderful life because of good, proper money decisions and our obsession over the tiny details that make life better for other people. So that's the idea. We'll talk to you and do a free consultation. And then if you want to explore our services longer term, then we'll lay out what that cost looks like for you and help you understand how we charge and what services are provided and all of that. So that is rare for us to throw out that pitch like that, but I think it's wise to just let people know who we are and what we do, and they can make their own decisions. But if you're a DIYer, like, this is the process. This is what you need to follow. This is how you do it. There are some tools out there that are available, but it really comes down to understanding your tax return really well. Anything else you would add, Tyson?
Guys, if you can feel Zacc's passion for financial planning and Roth the way I do, this is why I love working with Zacc. Get down in the comments, throw your questions in there, put your thoughts in there. You guys are amazing in the comments. Make sure you do that. Check out our description below for more information about Capita, our disclosures. Like, subscribe, do all the things.
One more time, what is the thing they have to put in here if they've made it to the end?
Your favorite game, your favorite card game, board game, we want to know. Because that's going to help. We're looking for new games. So
that's right. And you
better
have
analogies.
Young kids.
I'm using Texas Hold'em, and what is the other one I used? I don't even remember.
We used Hearts and Settlers of Catan.
I talked about the Spider-Verse.
You have young kids. I have teenagers that don't like me anymore. That's the way that works. Hopefully they come back around, but we would like to be able to play games with them.
Yes.
Put your comment in there. What is the game? Thanks for following us. Subscribe. Make sure you get the next episode. We need to still cover the 5-year rules. Those are complex.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. Here we go.